This $80 piece of plastic. Alright, so a few days ago I talked all about my favorite, the best makeup of 2017. And today, in honor of Foundation Friday, we're going to be talking about my least favorite foundation launches of 2017. So for those of you who might be new here, I do Foundation Friday every single Friday on my channel. I also do a series called 15 Days of Foundation, which is where I try out a new foundation for 15 days. I do it every few months. So I went through those playlists and then also my Shadow and Schmooze playlists. And between those things, I reviewed about 85 foundations this year. Don't even try and do the math there because you might cry. I will cry. At least it's a write-off. So out of those 85-ish foundations that I tried out, these are the ones that really stuck out to me that are just pure shit. These are not all of the shitty foundations I tried out this year. These are just the ones that also launched in 2017. So these are newer releases with the exception of one, which I'll tell you about. So for about 80% of the year, with the exception of the past couple months since I've been on Accutane, I had cystic acne, combination skin, and I would get oily throughout the day. So that's where I'm coming from as far as my skin type and everything. Like I always try to reiterate, these are just my experiences with these foundations. You might love these, you might also hate these. Everyone has different opinions on different products. Doesn't mean you're wrong and I'm right, doesn't mean I'm wrong and you're right. It's just the world, we all have different opinions. With that being said, these are products that I personally despise. So I'm going to go through each of them, tell you why I didn't like them, but I do have dedicated reviews on each one of these foundations, so I'll link them all down below. But if you're excited and you enjoy this video while you're watching, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, you can join the Bayrito family and subscribe. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Here we go. So these are in no order at all, we're just jumping in. So the first foundation is the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation. I don't even know where to start. First off, awesome shade range with this. It comes in 24 shades. That's amazing. The thing that really rubs me the wrong way with this is that typically with drop foundations, they are pigment drops in a way. They're more concentrated, so you have to use less product because they're in a frickin' dropper. For example, the Cover FX Custom Cover Drops, it says that you only need 4 drops to get full coverage with this. Go watch that review video, but 4 drops literally did nothing. I think I ended up using about 25 drops or something for my whole face. I don't think the end result of this one looks particularly bad. I've seen it look really great on some people. I think what bothers me is that I just don't think this should be in a dropper. I don't think it should be marketed as like a drop foundation. I think if they just put this in a bottle with a normal pump and did 1 fluid ounce of product, there's only 0.43 fluid ounces of product in here and it's $14, so that's pretty expensive. If this was a full fluid ounce, that would be around $28, which would be basically a high-end foundation. So if they just put this in a standard bottle with a pump and called it like a matte serum foundation, since it has that thin consistency, then I think it would be totally fine. The claims just didn't meet the reality here. To me, since the coverage wasn't there, I didn't particularly like the finish of it, and I didn't particularly like how it sat on my skin. I wouldn't use this as a mixing product. Between the marketing and the packaging and everything with this, they just kind of missed it. All right, so this next one, oh my gosh. I thought Anastasia Subculture was the most polarizing product of the year. I think this one might be close to it. This is the Fenty Beauty foundation. So in that review video, I go in depth about why this didn't work out for me, what I think of it. And that was a more recent video. It was during my last 15 Days of Foundation series. So I'm not going to go too in depth about this one. But this was one of the worst looking foundations, not just of the year, but that I've ever put on my skin. Again, great shade range. I applaud them there. I know the deepest shade goes really deep and the lightest shade does go very, very light. I think I'm about the 3rd up one in this because I got the 2nd up and it was still too light. This dries so fast, clings to everything, looks extremely dry on my skin, is patchy, just pretty much everything you don't want in a foundation for me. Now, whenever I see videos like on Instagram using this, it looks good on people's skin. And I've met people like at events recently that are wearing this foundation and it looks great on their skin. So a lot of people in the comments on that video were saying that they love this foundation, and a lot of people were also saying that they really don't like this foundation. So it looks so bad on my skin. This next foundation was also tested during the last 15 days of foundation. If you guys saw the best and worst video of that series, you know that it was kind of a total fail. We had a few winners, but there were definitely more rejects than raves that month. But this is the Sephora Make No Mistake Foundation and Concealer Stick. This stick foundation is so friggin' hard to blend out. It's literally a workout. It's like you're putting a Elmer's glue stick on your face and then trying to blend it out. It just kind of like stays right where you put it. I just don't want to have to work that much to blend out a stick foundation. The Makeup Forever stick foundation is beautiful. Blends out so effortlessly, just like glides, and it looks beautiful. Not only is it super hard to blend out, but on my skin it looks dry, it looks patchy, it clings again. And the weird thing with this one is that it looks super dry when it's first on my face, but then by the end of the night, I was a total grease ball, super, super oily. And those kind of products are a little bit trickier to work with because, one, I'm not someone who likes to touch up my makeup throughout the day. It's just not my thing. I don't carry makeup really in my purse. I'm actually filming a what's in my bag video after this, which is kind of ironic. But I'm not someone who likes to really fuss with my makeup throughout the day. I just like to put it on in the morning and have it stay throughout the day. And there are definitely products that work well for that and stay throughout the day on me. So it just doesn't make sense to have to mess around with something that doesn't. And then this thing is $20. So it's like, for $20, not worth it at all, in my opinion. Okay, I'm gonna go in with this one next because I'm too excited to talk about this one because I have so many feelings about this. This is the one that didn't actually launch in 2017, but the reason I want to mention this one is because it pretty much did in the US. Like, it launched a couple years ago, but this was the year that it really got a ton of hype around it and people were kind of discovering it for the first time. I hadn't heard about it at all before this year, and I know a lot of people haven't either before the BuzzFeed video came out. And this was the Lancome Le Teint Particulier, watched the video this morning, custom foundation. This friggin' thing, this $80 piece of plastic, $80. So I rewatched this whole video this morning and just got refueled up, you know? I've been pissed all day about it. I did a really in-depth, like 20-something minute long review on this where I showed you guys the machines that was used. I walked through the whole process going into the Nordstrom counter. Basically, a machine makes your custom shade and formula. You can customize the coverage, you can customize everything, undertones, whatever. For me, $80 for foundations already, it's gotta be friggin' amazing, but it would be semi worth it to me if it got your exact shade. Like, if the technology had actually worked. The technology aside, the formula is horrible, but we'll talk about that in a second. If the technology worked and actually got my shade right, then maybe. Like, if you never had to mix the foundation and you had the perfect formula and the perfect coverage and everything for what you wanted, then maybe that would be worth it. But the machine was a couple shades off, couldn't get the shade right. The formula was bad, very bad, looked dry, patchy. I wish they would just rework this a little bit because I think it could be really great, but there were just some things that needed to be changed. They really need to have good lighting at their little booth things if they're going to be doing this because, one, the customer needs to be able to see if it actually matches their neck so that they can correctly adjust it. Like, we were trying to look under these yellow lights at the makeup counter. The other thing that really just rubs me the wrong way with this whole thing is that they have your complexion ID in the system, which means they have your custom shade in their computer. So you could call up and say you need a refill of your foundation, and if you want a refill, it's another $80. They send you a whole new bottle. You can't reuse this packaging, which I understand for sanitary reasons and whatever, but if you're paying for the technology, you should not have to pay $80 again when they're literally just pouring out the foundation. They don't have to really do anything on their end. There's nothing new happening. $80 again for a second bottle is ridiculous, in my opinion. So I think this could have been a really great idea. I'm bummed it wasn't. I do want to still try the Matchco and the Bare Minerals one. So let me know down below if you guys still want to see videos on the Matchco one. Just everything about this, like the packaging feels hella cheap. The box was the best part of the whole experience, honestly. Okay, so next up, this one actually just relaunched recently and I have a video on it. Have video on all these. This is a Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. I absolutely loved the old version of the Superstay foundation. This was one of my favorite foundations. I used this for years. Beautiful, has a satin, really flattering finish, full coverage still. This one looks nothing like it. They went way downhill with the formula on this one, in my opinion. This one made my skin look so crusty and just bizarre. Like, things that I rarely have happen with foundations, like getting some weird things going on my nose, on top of my nose. Just kind of looking weird and heavy patchy in certain areas, just really off happened with this foundation. Some of you guys in the comments were wondering if it was just because my skin was getting drier when I tried this. So I did try this one again with my dry skin, and this one still looks beautiful on my skin right now. I wish they just launched this as a different foundation because it is entirely different than the original formula. I wish they just kept this and expanded the shades. I don't know why they discontinued this one in the first place, because what's that saying about killing a good thing or something? I don't know my sayings. Now it's gonna bother me. Nope, not coming. Maybelline, you should relaunch this formula as a different foundation. That would be great. So this one was actually posted recently, but it was filmed before Accutane, so still when I had oily skin. This is the APDG Longwear Liquid Pigment. If you watch that video, I don't really feel like I have to explain myself for this one. I actually had to wash off my face and redo this by mixing it in with something. I should probably talk about what this is. They're supposed to be liquid pigments again. This kind of blew up on Instagram, this brand, and then Allure talked about it and all this stuff, so it kind of went viral this year, mostly because of their shade range. But anyways, I first tried applying these on their own. I then took them off and tried applying it mixed in with the Dermablend Smooth Liquid Camo, which is a very forgiving foundation, and even mixed in with that, it still looked horrible. Super heavy, cakey. It says it's buildable, but it dries to a powder finish, so it's definitely not buildable. It dries very quickly too. The coverage really isn't there for being a liquid pigment. This is also very pricey for the amount of product that you get in here. If I was them, I would kind of just go back to the drawing board with this one and try and reformulate it, because I love that they have a great shade range, but the formula is pretty bad. All right, so the last worst launch of the year for my skin, a lot of people love this one, is the LA Colors Truly Matte Long Wearing High Pigment Foundation. Kind of the same situation actually as the Maybelline Superstay one for me. It just made my skin look so dry, so patchy. Do we see a theme here? By the end of the day, my bronzer and stuff started getting patchy. This just overall does not sit well on my skin at all. In the comments, you guys were saying that some of you found this at Dollar Tree and Dollar General. So if you've been wanting to try this, this might be at your local store and you can try it for only $1 instead of, it was $6, but I think I ended up paying like just as much in shipping or something. I do love, again, that they actually have a light porcelain shade now, because this one was pretty fair, and previously LA Colors foundations have been orange, the lightest shade, like definitely nowhere near an actual light shade. It's nice that they have fair shade now. Appreciate that. So those are my top worst foundation launches of 2017. I always get asked what I do with foundations that I don't like, and I actually have a whole bin. I usually keep all of them. It's very rare that I return a foundation, just because for videos and everything it's useful. For example, a video like this, a lot of times it's useful just to swatch or mention or whatever. I think there's about 30 in there with a tag on the outside that says don't like. So let me know if you guys would want me to like go through that bin or something. I don't know. But that is that. If you absolutely love any of these foundations, don't be offended. It's all good. It's just makeup, just foundation. Worst problems in the world. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It helps me out and I appreciate it. Also, just realized I didn't tell you guys what's on my face. So the bronzer I'm using is the Ashy Radiance by Catrice. Blush I use Ciate In Too Deep. Really pretty. It's kind of like purpley. Matte shades on my eyes are from the Morphe 15N palette. And then the shimmery shade on my lid, which I'm in love with, is from the Tarte Foil Finger Paints palette that I talked about in the new at Sephora video. That shade right there. Makeup Revolution Goddess of Love. I'm in love with Goddess of Love. My lashes are Huda Beauty Jade number 13. And my lips are the new Physicians Formula liquid lipstick formula in Berry Healthy. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye. By the end of the day, oh my god. This is a Catrice, wow, just totally blanked out on the word bronzer.